Well, that just proves that the days of the penultimate episode being bigger than the finale are over. Oh my god, guys. This is my review for the season finale of Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 10, Mother's Mercy. Holy shit. Like, holy shit, what a finale. This finale was one of the most depressing things I've seen in a very long time. Really, everything about this episode is very depressing. There's nothing happy about this finale, and just wow, every single storyline ended so sadly. Even Cersei's storyline, I'll talk about it. It was legitimately sad. I mean, really it was. And let's get in this episode because a shit ton of stuff happened. I will say that next season I don't really know what's going to happen next season. There's a lot that happened this episode, and I really don't know what's going to happen, but let's just get to it, because there's a lot to talk about. So, we see Melisandre, and of course, right away, I love that they got into this, because of course, we know what happened with Shireen, and right away, it's like, alright, let's get to some sad stuff. Because she watches as the ice melts, and the snow has stopped, and the weather's warming. So, she tells Stannis that the way to Winterfell is clear. He will take it, and a soldier tells Stannis that nearly half of his men deserted before dawn, with nearly all their horses, and another soldier brings Stannis into the woods, where he finds Selyse hanging from a noose tied to a tree. She is hung. She's basically hanged herself, which is understandable, of course. She tried to, she saw her own daughter die in front of her when she tried to stop it, and he wouldn't let her. So heroes are cut down, and a soldier and you really do see that Stannis does legitimately feel bad about what he did. Like, you can tell the anguish and the emotion he's going through, and I really love seeing that. And a soldier tells Stannis that Melisandre was seen riding out of camp, and Stannis orders them into marching formation, and right away we see that they're on their way to Winterfell, so you think that everything's gonna be good there, and then we see Jon's recounting the battle at Hardhome to Sam, because of course Sam wasn't there to witness it, and they discussed Longclaw, and Jon now knows the danger of what's gonna happen, and Sam asks how many Valyrian steel swords exist, because if you remember, Jon was able to stop a White Walker with Longclaw, which is incredible, so they want to know what other swords are out there that can kill these White Walkers, and Jon says there aren't enough, and Sam asks Jon to send him to Old Town to become a maester with Gilly and Little Sam. So Jon says he needs Sam at the wall, but Sam says he'd be more used to Jon as a maester, and he also says he fears for Gilly's life while they're at Castle Black. He just can't be with Jon anymore. Even though he's loyal to Jon, it's just not safe anymore. I mean, think of all the people that are against Jon. I don't think Sam necessarily is against Jon, but he knows what would happen if the wall would find him with Jon. It's just to the point where he can't be with Jon anymore, and Jon agrees to let him go. So Sam, Gilly, and Little Sam leave, and you can see the look on Jon's face. He just knows that things are not going to go well for him, and I felt really bad for Jon, definitely. I mean, Sam has probably been his most loyal soldier, and Sam had to leave, really. That was really sad, definitely. I felt really bad. I mean, I understand that he wants to keep Gilly and Little Sam safe, because he kept that promise to her, that he said, I'm going to keep you safe no matter what, and I'm going to be here, and we're going to be a family. So, he had to keep that promise to her, but of course, just leaving Jon, that was really sad to see. So Stannis marches on Winterfell, and Sansa picks the lock on her door and heads outside, and Pod sees Stannis coming and alerts Brienne. So, of course, now that he sees that, we know, of course, that Brienne wants to go after Stannis and kill him, and I was wondering if that was actually going to happen. So Sansa goes to the tower with the candle in her hand, and Brienne moves from her post just before it's lit, and Stannis begins selling his troops for a siege when an army of men rides out towards him. It's really crazy. Sansa waits in the tower, she has her candle, and Stannis draws his sword and marches forward despite being vastly outnumbered. Sansa watches as Stannis' army is overtaken, she leaves the tower, and 2 men attack Stannis, and Stannis kills both of them, but is badly wounded, and I was really wondering what was going to happen, because he props against a tree. Brienne finds him there, like, oh shit, she's going to kill him, and Stannis basically Stannis admits to murdering Renly, and Brienne sends Stannis to death and asks if he has any last words. He only tells her to do her duty. She executes him, and yeah, Stannis is dead. So she killed Stannis, and wow, I did not expect that to happen. Well, at least we think she did, because the last time we saw it, she was like about to cut off his head, so I'm pretty sure she killed Stannis, and I mean, victory for Brienne, but wow, she actually killed Stannis. I didn't think that was going to happen, but she did it. So Ramsay, meanwhile, finishes off what's left of Stannis' army, and again, Stannis has just lost everything. I mean, I kind of saw, I understand why Stannis just let himself die, because he even said to Brienne, just let me die, because he just had to make the hardest sacrifice of his life. There's no greater sacrifice than killing someone that's your flesh and blood. There's no greater sacrifice than that, and Stannis had to do that. He had to kill Shireen, who, yeah, she wasn't, actually, and he had to kill Shireen, and that was the hardest thing he's ever had to do, and it was really sad to see that, and he knows that he just couldn't live with himself anymore. He had to die, and I honestly kind of saw, I kind of predicted that either Stannis was going to kill himself, or he was just going to let himself die, and he let himself die, so in many ways, it's a victory for Brienne, and, now Sansa's safe, but she's not safe, because Ramsay's still out there, because Brienne doesn't realize that Ramsay's the real threat here, not Stannis, and we see right away that Ramsay is just killing every single one of Stannis' army. Like, it's insane how much he's doing. He's killing every single one of his army, and that was insane. So Sansa wanders the halls of Winterfell. She's found by Reek and Miranda, Theon and Miranda, and Miranda's holding a bow in Sansa's face, and she orders Sansa back to her room, but Sansa says if you want me to die, I'd rather die. You can understand why. I mean, think of what Ramsay's put her through. He's put her through hell, and she even says to her that, I know what Ramsay's gonna do to me. I don't care. Just let me die. And Miranda says Sansa won't die while Ramsay still needs her to give him an heir, because that's what he's concerned about. He just wants a child. He just wants a child, and Miranda's about to begin on Sansa when Theon grabs Miranda, throws her from the wall, and that was insane when he did that. I mean, the fact that he just protected Sansa like that was insane. And Ramsay's men return, and Theon takes Sansa's hand. Together, they jump from the walls of Winterfell into the snow outside, and I'm pretty sure he's going to rescue Sansa. So, who knows what else is going to happen, because we don't see what happens after that, but I definitely feel like next season he's going to try to rescue Sansa. We'll have to see what happens next season, though, because that was crazy. I did not see that coming, but that was very well done, I have to say. Great to see Theon back in rescuing Sansa. Finally, he's woken up, and I think really Theon's now going to realize that he's better than what Ramsay has done to him. I mean, think of what Theon's been through. He's been tortured, and he's been through all this crazy shit with Ramsay, and I think finally he's going to realize that he is better than what Ramsay has done to him. Really, I think he's going to realize that, and I think that's awesome that he finally is realizing that. So in Bravos, Meeren Trant beats 3 young girls, and it's a crazy scene. And of course, this is the guy that Arya wanted to execute. And the third one doesn't cry when he strikes her. He hits her again and again, but she makes no sound. Meeren hits the other 2 anyway, focused on the third. He punches her in the stomach. The girl pulls off her face, and it's Arya. And I was like, holy shit, finally. She leaps at him, stabbing both of his eyes and gagging him as he screams, and stabs him repeatedly in the chest. She tells him that he was the first person on her list for killing Serial Floral. She asks if Trant knows who she is, and then tells him that she's Arya Stark, and she did. She gets to do what she did. She gets to kill him, and she then tells Trant that he's no one, nothing, and then slits his throat slowly. And she did it. She killed Meeren Trant, which I thought was incredible that we finally saw her do that. That was just, wow, that was great to see. I love that. However, I don't love what happens next. This, I don't even understand. Really, I don't understand this. Arya returns to the Hall of Faces and returns the face she took. And Jaquin and the waif find her there and tell her that she's taking a life, the wrong life, and the waif says she's not ready. And Jaquin tells her that she stole from the many-faced god and only death can pay for life, and he pulls out this vial, and I thought he was gonna, make Arya take this vial and, try to poison her. That's what I thought he was doing. That's not what he does, though. He drinks from the vial, falls to the floor, and Arya just starts crying. And the waif asks why Arya's crying, and the waif becomes Jaquin, which is really strange, I have to say. So Arya pulls the face from the corpse, Jaquin, and there are only more faces underneath until she sees her own, which makes her blind. So Arya's blind now. So I'm pretty sure that this is like a voodoo doll thing where basically, because they said it can take the face of anything, so I'm pretty sure this is like a voodoo thing where basically it can turn into any face that you see, that's what happens to you. If you see your own face, then whatever the waif did, that's what happens to you. That's what I'm pretty sure is going on here, which is really creepy, but really interesting, but now Arya's gonna be blind, so what's she gonna do now she's blind? That's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. I'm pretty sure she's blind now. I don't know if this is a temporary thing, if there's a way to overcome this. For right now, at least, she's blind, because she said, point out that she can't see, and she's blind now, so it's better than the training montage we've had all season, I'll say that. I'm happy we're done with this, whole training montage. I thought that was really good. So, I like that. I thought that, overall was really well done. But now that she's blind, I really don't know what's going to happen here, and I'm much more interested now in Arya's arc. This has made me a lot more interesting, definitely. So, we get to what is now the only happy thing going on. We see Trystane, Myrcella, Bronn, and Jaime prepare to depart Dorne. And again, there's just so much drama going on this episode. I really, it was a really dark finale. It was probably the darkest finale we've had since the Red Wedding by far. Because last year's finale was really triumphant and gave us a lot of hope. And this one really didn't at all. It was very depressing. So, Trystane, Myrcella, Bronn, and Jaime prepare to depart Dorne. And Ellaria kisses Myrcella on the mouth before they leave, and you pretty much think that everything's okay. Ellaria made up with Jaime. You think that they're going to be safe. And on the boat, Jaime gives Myrcella back her locket. She says she'll never take it off again. And Jaime says he's glad Myrcella is coming home and that Trystane seems like a nice boy. And I thought that was really good. So they discuss Cersei, and Jaime decides he wants to tell Myrcella something. And I thought this was a really well done scene. I mean, he tells her that, Myrcella, that you don't choose who you love, and he just can't get the words out. He doesn't know if he wants to say it, but Myrcella stops him and says she knows what he's talking about. She already knows about him and Cersei, and we find out that right there, he is the father of Myrcella. They finally confirmed it, and my dad literally screamed, damn, like, he was like, I was watching this with my dad, and he, like, screamed. I agree. Like, that's huge that they finally did that. After all this time, we now know that Myrcella is, Jaime's daughter, which I thought was really well done. I have to say, I love that. I did see it coming because he always has been like a father to her, but now we know that he is her father was huge. So, just when it seems like things are going to be good, she pulls away, her nose starts bleeding, she falls to the ground, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's kind of like what happened to Joffrey. This also means that he's the son, that Joffrey was also Jaime's son. That's what that also means. So, which is really bad, but basically she falls to the ground. Watching from the docks, Ellaria's nose starts bleeding. She drinks the antidote from her necklace, and Ellaria poisoned Myrcella, and I don't know if Myrcella's dead or not. I'm pretty sure she is, but wow, she lied to Jaime big time. I was really surprised how much she lied to Jaime, but wow, she really, like, he can't believe a word she says anymore. She needs to now, wow, she completely lied to him. That was huge. I can't believe she actually lied to Jaime like that, but she actually did. Wow, that was big, really, it was. So, yeah, I mean, I guess all that whole thing of I forgive you is bullshit, and now she's going after them, which I don't fully understand why she's going after them. He had nothing to do with it. He clearly said that, and I guess she's just not going to cut it. She's going to go after the Lannisters, so she's not done yet, and we'll have to see what happens. But wow, I can't wait to see what happens next. Really, I can't. That's huge. And I don't know if Myrcella's dead. I'm pretty sure she is, but I guess we'll have to see what happens. So, Tyrion, Daario, and Jorah sit in Daenerys' empty throne in Meeren, and it's like, where are they going? Because, of course, Daenerys left, so what are they going to do without her? And Tyrion asks them both if they love her, and it pretty much seems like Tyrion's now taking over, which I really like seeing, because, again, Tyrion has a purpose here. And he says it's hopeless for both of them, and Missandei brings Grey Worm to the room, and at first he's unhappy to see Jorah, but they explain that Jorah saved her life, which he did. Of course, he saved Daenerys, and Jorah and Tyrion argue, and they both decide that they need to go find Daenerys, and Daario points out that Tyrion would be more useful ruling Meeren than searching in the field, which honestly would be really good. I could honestly see Tyrion taking Daenerys' place, and Grey Worm, Missandei will also stand by him, and Jorah and Daario leave to find Daenerys. So that basically is what they're going to do now, that Tyrion is now going to rule the city, which I think is really interesting. I can't wait to see how Tyrion does it. This is perfect for Tyrion. Honestly, all season long, what's he want? A purpose, and now he finally has it. Tyrion really is the only one here who actually gets something happy in this episode, which I thought was really good. So Tyrion watches Jorah and Daario leave the city. They're gonna go find Daenerys, and we see, Varys is there. Varys is there, and I loved what he says to him, and he's like, well, how have you find me? He's like, well, the east bird talks to the west bird. Basically, he's heard that where he was. I thought that was really funny. So, Varys basically, Varys advises that, information is the key to holding Meeren. So, Tyrion is now going to take over Meeren. He's going to take over Meeren. I'm definitely interested in seeing how that's going to be, because that's really interesting for Tyrion. I never really thought of Tyrion doing that, but that I thought was really interesting. I definitely really love that, I have to say. So, that was really good. So, Tyrion really is the only person in this episode that gets something legitimately good, while everyone else just gets shit. I mean, that was huge. So, Daenerys admires the lush landscape as Drogen lies in a burnt pile of bones, and of course, we don't really know where Daenerys was going, and I really wasn't sure what was going to happen with Daenerys, though. That was the one thing I was looking forward to, is where was Daenerys going? So, Daenerys says they have to go home, but Drogen seems hurt. She tries to mount him again, but he's less receptive this time. He falls asleep instead, and Daenerys wanders around searching for food. She hears a horse and looks up to see Dothraki. A whole Khaleesi surrounds her, and she drops a ring on the ground beneath her. So, I'm not really sure where she's going, but I'm pretty sure now she's just going to be with these dragons, and I guess, Daario and Jorah are eventually going to find her, but we'll have to see what happens next season, I guess, because that's really all we see of that. So then we get to Cersei, and I have to say, that Cersei probably had the worst thing to happen to her. I mean, I hate Cersei, I do. And she deserved every minute what happened, but I legitimately felt bad for her. I really did. I mean, this whole walk of shame, I really did feel bad for her here, because she sits in her cell, and the Septa enters and tells her to confess. She goes before the High Sparrow and confesses, saying she wants to be clean again. She confesses to sleeping, and she confesses to everything. She confesses to sleeping with Lancel, and she insists that there were no other men, and the High Sparrow brings up the rumors of Cersei and Jaime, but Cersei says they're all lies, and the High Sparrow says there will still be a trial, and I'm like, just admit it. Just admit you slept with Jaime, and this will all be over. And, he says there will still be a trial over the sin she's denying as a sign of the Mother's mercy. The High Sparrow agrees to let Cersei return to Red Keep, but only after her atonement. And what her atonement is just insane. There is no greater punishment than what ends up happening to Cersei right here. This is probably the worst thing that's happened to any character. Honestly, this is probably the worst thing. This is worse than when Theon got his dick cut off. It's worse than that. Honestly, it is. So, the Septas strip and roughly bathe Cersei. They don't even try to, avoid cutting her. No, she gets cut, 3 times, and they cut her hair, completely. She has, her hair looks like mine right now. That's how short it is. So she's brought to the front of the Great Septon, and the High Sparrow declares the sins Cersei has confessed to, and how she's agreed to cast priests aside and make her walk of atonement, and the Septas remove her clothing. She begins walking forward through the crowd, and the Septas keeps and the Septa basically just starts chanting, shame, 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 and basically she has the walk of shame, and the ring of bell as she goes, and it's basically slut-shaming her. That's basically what they're doing, and the faith militant part the way for her. The crowd calls her a whore, and worse as she walks through, and this is something that was really common back then. I mean, it's really common for what they did to Cersei, and they begin throwing food at her. Some are flashing her, others are spitting. She falls to the ground, and they're calling her, a whore and a slut, and all these terrible things. They're doing all this terrible stuff, and they don't even care. They just want her to finish the walk. That's what they want. They don't care who's gonna say shit to her. They just want her to finish this. So, she sees the Red Keep in the distance. She starts walking in. She enters the gate into the keep, where Kavan Lannister and Pycelle are waiting, and you see she's crying, and I just don't know if Cersei's really learned her lesson. I mean, I feel bad for her. I do. I mean, if that were to happen to anyone, I feel bad for them. Even Cersei, who I don't like, I do feel bad that this happened to her, because no one should have to go through something like that. Honestly, she deserves every minute of what's happened to her, but no one should have to go through that. Really, they shouldn't have to. I just hope that she now realizes that she's done wrong, and maybe now she'll change. I'm not really sure, though. I don't really think anything can get her to change. Is Cersei really going to change? I'm not really sure. So, Qyburn's quick to wrap her up. Qyburn introduced her to the newest member of the Kingsguard, a hulking man in gold armor who Qyburn says is taking a vow of silence. So now Cersei is back to where she belongs. She's back as queen. The question is, has she really learned her lesson? Because I'm not really sure if she has. We'll have to see what happens. And then we get to what is by far the most tragic scene of this episode. I mean, this was just so sad to see. I saw it coming, but it was so sad. At the wall, Davos tries to convince Jon to bring men to fight for Stannis, and Melisandre arrives at the gates, and Jon asks for after Stannis, and Davos after Shireen, but Melisandre remains silent because, of course, Stannis and Shireen are dead, so later Jon reads letters in his quarters. Ollie enters and claims a wilding knows where to find Benjen Stark, his father, and Jon heads outside. He's, like, running outside, and I really thought that he was going to be there. There were rumors that Benjen Stark was going to come back in this episode, but all he finds is a sign that reads, traitor, and when Ollie was talking to him, I'm like, wait a second, that was Ollie. Ollie, of course, was the one who said he wanted to kill Jon. He wanted to stop Jon, and we get this really disturbing scene where Ollie and several other members just stab Jon, and they're just like, for the watch, for the watch, for the watch, and Ollie's the last, and Jon doesn't want him to do it, but he falls over, lies in the snow, and Jon Snow is dead. Yes, they did it. Jon is dead, and I'm not going to say I didn't see it coming, because I did. I heard many people talking about it. People left comments on my videos about it. I was pretty sure it was going to die. I actually thought they weren't going to do it, though. I was pretty sure they weren't going to do, because they're so, like, they've changed so much this season that I really thought that they were not going to kill Jon Snow, but they did it. Oh my god, I could not believe that happened. So yeah, what a depressing finale. Really, this finale was really depressing, but it really brings us into season 6 in a really, it was definitely very satisfying with everything that's happened. I understand why Stannis died. I understand why Jon had died. Jon had to die because of what Ollie said, that he was just too kind. He, didn't do what the Watch wanted him to do. He allied with the Wildings when they didn't want him to do that. He had to, kill Mance Rayder as a mercy killing rather than doing it the way they wanted him to. And he pretty much just turned himself against the Watch, so he has to die. So now I feel like Ollie is going to take over. He's going to be the main one in the Watch. And am I upset for what happened to Jon? Yes. Do I forgive the Watch? I understand why they did it. They pretty much had to do it. If they wouldn't have done it, they wouldn't have been loyal to Ollie. And Ollie's the most, loyal member of the Watch. To be completely honest, Jon wasn't really loyal to the Watch anymore. So he needed to remember where he was from, and it was just too late for him to, for them to forgive him. It was too late. He already turned their back against them, so they had to kill him. So overall, guys, this was an amazing finale. Even though it was as depressing as it was very amazing. There's a lot to talk about, definitely, what's going to happen next season. Let's talk about Arya. Arya's blind now. What's going to happen here? I'm not really sure. She's blind. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but we'll have to see what happens there. I'd like to find out more of what's going on with, Jaquin. Obviously, it seems like a voodoo thing, but we'll have to see what happens there. Even though Brienne killed Stannis, I don't think she realizes that the real threat right now is Ramsay. Ramsay is the real threat. Even though I think Theon is now going to protect Sansa, and they're going to finally get out of there and go back to... I'm pretty sure they're going to go back to King's Landing, because that's, the safest place right now, is King's Landing. Even though the Lannisters are in trouble, King's Landing is safe for right now, unless Jaime gets back. Because if Jaime goes back, then Ellaria is coming after, and and all hell's going to break loose. That's really what's going to happen there. Also, I definitely see, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Myrcella's dead. I don't know if there's a way to, help her. I have heard some people say that they don't think Jon's dead. He's dead. We saw the blood in the snow. I don't think I'm pretty sure he's dead. There's no way that he's living. Really, there's not. I don't see how he can recover from that, but we'll see what happens there. Stannis is definitely dead. Brienne killed Stannis. That's without a doubt she did that. But all of Stannis' army is gone now, so that whole thing is gone. Stannis is, that whole thing is gone. Ramsay's now going to take over, definitely, and that's going to be terrible that Ramsay's going to take over. We'll have to see what happens there also. I can't wait to see Tyrion be now the lead, ruler of Meeren. That's going to be awesome to see, because honestly, that's perfect for Tyrion. I didn't really think about that, but that is really perfect for Tyrion. I really love seeing him get that. I really can't think of anything that's better for Tyrion than being ruler of Meeren. Now that Varys is there to help him, I can't wait to see how that works out overall, because that's awesome, really, it is. As far as the whole thing with Cersei goes, I just really hope that Cersei realizes what she did was wrong, because I don't know if she does. I think that some of it she understands, but I think some of it she doesn't. I mean, I don't understand how she can't get this through her head that what she did was wrong. What you did was wrong, okay? You don't understand that. How can you not understand that what you did was wrong? I don't think she understands that, and I really want her to comprehend that, but she's not, and it's really annoying that she's not. I wish that she'd understand that, and she's not. She really isn't. I really hope that she does, though. We'll see what happens, I guess, next season. Daenerys now has the dragons. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Obviously, Dario and Jorah, they're going to rescue her, but maybe she'll be safe with Drogen and all them. Honestly, I think, honestly, she might be safer with the dragons than she is in Meeren. Because if Tyrion takes over Meeren, she doesn't have a purpose to be there anymore. Really, I think Tyrion would be better than Daenerys at this point. Tyrion's much more focused. He doesn't have the dragons and everything. Yeah, there's no fighting pits. But I think that would be really good for Tyrion if he stays in Meeren. I think he's a lot safer there, and Daenerys is a lot safer with Drogen, because the dragons will be loyal to her. Really, they will be, but we'll have to see what happens, I guess. As far as, I guess the only other thing to ask is, what's gonna happen with, What's gonna happen with Sam and Gilly? Is he gonna regret leaving Jon? I really feel like now that he knows that Jon is dead, he's gonna definitely regret leaving Jon. We'll have to see what happens there. I don't really know where they're going, but, we'll have to see what happens with, Sam and Gilly. I really do feel bad for Sam, because I feel like he's really gonna regret leaving Jon, but we'll have to see what happens. Overall, guys, I love this season. I really did. I'm one of the few people that did. A lot of people I know didn't love this season, but I personally love this season. I think this was a really great season. Really solid overall. I mean, it did what Game of Thrones did best. It had really good storylines. This finale, it was depressing as hell, but it had really satisfying things in there. Arya finally got to kill, Meeren Trant. Finally. She finally got to kill him. Brienne finally got to kill Stannis. Something we want to see. But even though she doesn't realize that, Ramsay's a real threat. She doesn't know that yet. She will eventually find that out, though. Sam and Gilly, they got to be together finally away from Jon, and they're safe now. Jaime finally confessed to Myrcella that he is her father, and I thought that was amazing. I mean, just all these scenes were so well done, and Tyrion now is ruler of Meeren. As depressing as this was, it was very triumphant as well. It was very satisfying. Characters got what they wanted, even though they're in, really bad shit right now. A lot of them. I mean, Arya's blind, Jon's dead, Stannis is dead, Ramsay's probably gonna take over. At least Sansa and Theon are on the run. They're on the run right now. Jaime's daughter's poisoned. Ellaria's coming after them. I mean, so much crazy shit's gonna happen next season. But I honestly can't wait for it, because it's gonna be a really chaotic season next season. You can tell how chaotic it's gonna be. But we'll have to see what happens next season. Let me know what you guys saw this season overall. Overall, guys, I really did love this season. I will admit, it wasn't the best season. It definitely wasn't. I think the best season still was probably, I mean, I'm really not sure what the best season is, but this was not the best season. It was one of the best. I think it was one of the best. It wasn't the best, though. I'm pretty sure next season, though, is going to be. I mean, the way this season ended, next season is probably going to be the best season. It really will. I will admit things did get a little bit too convoluted this season. I will fully admit that, but that's just because of how many characters there are. Now that we're cutting some of the characters off, now things won't be as convoluted. I mean, there's no more Jon Snow storyline. There's no more Stannis. Now it's going to be Sam and Ramsay. That's what it's going to be now, and we'll have to see what happens there, I guess. But that's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw of this finale. Overall, guys, amazing finale. Really, amazing finale. Really, really tragic stuff, really sad stuff as well, but overall very satisfying. I really did love it. I'm really looking forward to next season. What do you think of this season overall? I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Penny Dreadful, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.